Today we are talking about the pound GBPUSD following the dollar sell-off on Friday. I'll have all the details in today's video, including the key levels to watch, what level the pound has to get above to target higher levels, and where this market could be headed here over the coming weeks. Now, if you guys want my help with your trading, including seeing my trades live, and that includes a trade I put on so far this week, then be sure to check out the link in the description below for 85% off lifetime access to Discord. That's going to give you lifetime access to my trades in real time, daily trade setups, VIP-only videos, and also the full trading course. All right, guys, looking at the pound GBPUSD on the 4-hour time frame. So if you saw the weekly forecast, then you know about these key levels. However, so far, we are seeing the market rotate lower here and take out a single print, okay, an imbalance down here that we talked about over the weekend. So down here in this area, just below this low, this 4-hour low here on Friday, there was a single print down here, this imbalance. And so far, we've seen the pound take that out. Now, the big question is, though, where does this market go from here? Because right now the market obviously is very sideways following, a relatively uneventful week so far here on Monday. And really, the entire week doesn't have a whole lot on the event calendar. However, as we all know, that doesn't really mean that it's going to be a quiet week, because all it takes is a comment or two from Trump to send these markets, into a tailspin. So we'll see what we get this week. But so far, guys, the pound is relatively quiet here. What this is going to come down to, in my opinion, is obviously you've got this key level up here at 135.80, and we've talked about this before, but you've got these highs back here. Again, this is where I was shorting the market. You had this lower high. You had the market breaking below a key level here off of these lows. I was shorting this last week up here in this area. Again, I announced this in real time in VIP and exited the trade here on Friday just before this move. Again, it's all time stamped in Discord. This isn't hindsight stuff, guys. I announced this stuff in real time. And so right now, guys, the key for this market, in my opinion, is obviously going to be this area up here. However, we also have this pivot through this region. So right around 135.23 or so. All right, so you can see where Friday did close just above that mark. So right now, the question is, can the pound get back above here, get back above these highs up here, right around 135.25? We'll call it 135.30 to be safe here. If the market can get back up here on the high time frames, then I think we're looking at a move back here toward those 135.80 highs. And then from there, we could see the pound start to target some of these levels back here in July. So following this move lower back here in July, you can see a very aggressive sell-off and then a partial retrace. So we never got a retrace up here into this area. And so that left behind several imbalances up here in the 137 region for the pound. Now, areas like this tend to serve as magnets, so to speak, for a market. So these could become targets for the pound if we get above this area through here. So first of all, get above here. Okay, so that right there could be one technical trigger. However, in order to really expose these areas, you have to see the pound get above highs like this up here around 135.80 on the high time frames. High time frames, I'm talking 4-hour at a minimum, okay, but preferably on the daily chart. So that's what that's going to take here, guys, for the pound. As long as we're below this area, then there is that potential for the pound to just continue consolidating and potentially even pull back into areas like this. Now, one thing to consider is that we do have a single print or imbalance down here at 134.33. So you can see that following Friday's move, this was a very aggressive move on the 30-minute time frame. If you look at this, very thinly traded through here. So there is a chance that we could see the pound come back here and test this area, potentially even hit this level before we get a bounce. However, if that's going to happen, the key here, or really the tricky part with that, if we were to get that, is the DXY. And we talked about this again over the weekend, but you can see that so far, this market is holding below this trend line, also the bottom of this channel right here off of these lows. So we've discussed this several times in recent videos, but you can see off these highs right back here. And this up here above 99.35, we've discussed those June highs several times. You can see the DXY failed to hold above it back here in this area, and we got that move lower, okay? Now, Friday's session was pretty similar to what we saw back here, where we saw the DXY fail to hold above this area and close back below this region. So in the weekly forecast, what I discussed there was that 98 was going to be resistance. So far, that's where we've seen the DXY struggle a little bit here on Monday. So the question is does the DXY continue to hold below that 98 area? And what I mentioned with the pound, the tricky part is that if we see the pound come back here into this region down here, and even that single print, then you've got to consider that the DXY at that point is probably back within this channel, because there's no really way that the pound can get that low without seeing the DXY get back above here. Okay, chances are. So if that's the case and the DXY is reclaiming levels like this, then if we see the pound come down here into this region, do you really want to be a buyer knowing that the DXY has reclaimed the bottom of that channel. All right. So, a few things to consider. Again, this week should be relatively quiet on the event calendar, at least. Of course, that doesn't mean it's going to be a quiet week because we do have unscheduled event risk. That's been the case all year long, especially with Trump and those comments that he makes. So we'll see if that's going to be the case again this week. But for now, guys, what I'm looking at is the pound, again, it has to get above areas like this pivot through here to open up 135.80. Above this area, if we were to see it, you've got 137, those single prints from July. And alternatively, you've got support coming in down here just below 134.80. Okay. Now with the DXY though, you look at this market here and you can see where so far this week we are testing some resistance up here at 98. So for the DXY right now, you can see the bounce from 97.7 on Friday. This right here is the key support that we've discussed. We've got resistance up here at 98. Really, this is a matter of, do we see the DXY get back above the bottom of this channel up here, in which case we could target single prints like 98.50/60, or we get below 97.7, in which case we've got poor lows, unfinished auctions down here around 97.42, and then all of those down there around 96.70. So that is going to be the big question here for the DXY over the coming days. Now, 96.70, like we've discussed in recent videos, that is a key area for the DXY. It's going to be really interesting to see what we get, because looking at the monthly time frame going back to 2011, you can see off of this low right down here, we've got these lows and the low here from the past couple of months. So for the DXY, it's very range bound right now. If you look at the monthly time frame, this is really the range that you're working with. Okay, so looking at the monthly, you've got these highs up here, you've got these lows down here. Notice where the bottom of that 2011 channel comes in. It comes in right there at those unfinished auctions around 96.70. So this is why I'm saying that it's going to be very interesting to see what we get from the DXY over the coming days, because if we do get the market holding below this resistance area around 98, then we've got, unfinished auctions down here at 97.42, and then also these down here that line up exactly with this confluence of support around 96.70. So if I get my way, which, obviously there's no guarantee of that, but my base case right now is as long as we hold below 98, I think we probably see this area retested over the coming days, at which time, okay, and this is obviously very speculative at the moment because, we haven't even seen the move lower yet. But if we do get this from the DXY, obviously no guarantees. If we do get this over the coming days, though, guys, I think that this is a good place to start potentially looking for dollar longs, okay? Because this is a confluence of support. You've got those unfinished auctions down there that tend to get swept. And so if we see the DXY down here into this area, this is probably a very good area to start looking for dollar longs. And of course, you do have to stay cautious while the market is below 98. All right, so resistance up here, you've got support at 97.7. Again, it's a matter of, do we close above here or below this area? And you can use all of this, guys, to trade things like the pound, okay, or even the euro or any major currency pair. So I hope this video has helped, guys. If it has, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and also join us in VIP. Check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off lifetime access. I will see you in Discord. Trade well. I will talk to you again tomorrow.